Okay, so we're going to go to a part 2. I didn't mean to cut off the last one, but it might as well be because if that video runs long, I can't re-upload to VidMe. We're still doing Friends in High Places with Webb Hubbell. And I'm going to continue. So until now, we're dealing with mostly Webb Hubbell's career. Now, let me throw in one more detail that I forgot. Webb Hubbell was appointed in, I believe, 1983. He was acting Chief Justice of the Arkansas Supreme Court under Governor Bill Clinton. So this guy, he was mayor of Little Rock, not elected, Little Rock City Council member, not elected, and Arkansas Supreme Court Justice, all for what? For being a member of the Rose Law Firm. Okay, so, you know, maybe he did earn some of it because, you know, all in all, it's not like as a private citizen he had many scandals. As mayor of Little Rock, there's not many scandals that I can see, but, you know, the claim that he was not some sort of Clinton crony is obviously not true. So on page 245, he claimed that he did understand that Vince Foster's death was a suicide, but in later statements he claimed otherwise. Okay? On page 256, I'm going to be going through these kind of fast, but, you know, I'll be coming back to each point. On page 256, he claimed that Bernie Nussbaum attempted to prevent any revelation of documents after Vince Foster's death, but he neglects to mention that many of these documents were never revealed. Okay? But, so anyway, how did that happen? As you'll hear more about later in a different video, there was a person at the Justice Department above Webb Hubbell, but below Heymann-Reno, the Deputy Attorney General. His name was Philip Heymann. And after Vince Foster's apparent suicide, he got into a fight with Bernie Nussbaum. He was saying, you know, you have to turn over everything. You have to cooperate with the police. You can't just hide everything. You can't go into his office and remove documents. You know, you can't just fucking go in there like, you know, he's dead. I'll just take whatever the fuck I want. Well, that's apparently what Bernie Nussbaum did. And what ended up being was this major scandal where, you know, people in the Clinton administration were implicated for removing documents from basically a murder investigation. And later, after several times going through his briefcase, they mysteriously found a torn up suicide note that was missing a signature and a date. And you know, this Webb Hubbell actually claimed that he never, you know, he claimed at one point, I have a different document, I'll paste a link to it, but he claimed he never went and told the Justice Department that they needed to seal Vince Foster's office. But actually, a lot of people, when he was at the house of Foster's widow, actually claimed that they heard him say to seal the office. So he's actually contradicting himself. In fact, let me read off from the GPO document, if I can find it, and it's not floating around here. It says here, Senate Whitewater Committee deposition at 57, Marcia Scott. Marcia Scott was another Clinton administration clerk. She basically said she remembered Webb Hubbell saying the Department of Justice should seal Foster's office. She testified to that. Hubbell did not remember this, but said his wife, Marcia Scott, and Sheila Anthony all told him that he said it. Okay, so he apparently is claiming all these memory lapses from the night of the Foster, the discovery of Foster's body. It's all like, it's this pattern of him pretending he doesn't remember anything. Then on page 251, he admits that he told former Vince Foster mentor, Phil Carroll from the Rose Law Firm, that he didn't believe that it was a suicide. But then he claims on the same page that he doesn't know why he said that. Okay? Then, on page 255, he admits, I don't know if it's called an admittance, he said that Hillary Clinton claimed that Vince Foster was investigating a Navy hit squad that fakes suicides before he himself committed suicide. So, if it's true, then Hillary Clinton possibly did not believe that Vince Foster killed himself. But if it's not true that Hillary Clinton said that, then, you know, what the fuck is Webb Hubbell talking about? First of all, we've never ever heard in any other context, not from the Clintons. We've never heard from any of the conspiracy theorists, as if it's so weird that somebody would question why a top White House aide would kill himself in Fort Marcy Park, in the park he'd never been to. Okay? Nobody's ever mentioned a Navy hit squad. Nobody. So, this is all a bunch of nonsense. This Webb Hubbell claiming that he's working for these legitimate people. If Hillary Clinton really believed that, then maybe she should have pressed further. She should have probably asked her husband to call the Justice Department and really probe the entire murder to the end. But you'll see tomorrow. I'm sorry I'm starting with this because I actually read this first, but Webb Hubbell pretends that for some reason, Vince Foster's suicide was, at the end of the day, it was a suicide. He knows that it was not a suicide, okay? He also says later, okay, this is how ridiculous he is. He claims that, where did I put this? UFO. Oh, okay, page 282. He claimed that Bill Clinton told him to investigate UFOs and the JFK assassination. And that's his main regret from resigning from the Justice Department, that he never got to do either one of those. So let me get back to brass tacks. This guy's full of shit, okay? He also said that the only reason that Phil Heymann, his direct boss, the Deputy Attorney General, and the real Attorney General, the full Attorney General, Heymann-Reno, didn't get along was because she was a micromanager. It's bullshit. Because he actually mentioned earlier, that Nussbaum was screwing with Heymann, that he was basically micromanaging. He was basically destroying evidence of the Vince Foster death. Okay, he was tampering with it. The White House was basically tampering with the Justice Department. Heymann-Reno was doing nothing about it. At a different point, he actually blamed FBI Director Bill Sessions for Waco. Okay, the FBI was not to blame for Waco. Okay, at the end of the day, it's not the FBI doesn't make that call. The ATF doesn't. Those agencies are under the Attorney General. Okay. The Clintons and all the Democrats, they always want to... Yes, the FBI is fucking retarded, okay? You know who runs the FBI? You. Okay, if you have a problem with the FBI, maybe you should fix it. Maybe you should stop making excuses for everything. There's never been this... they're always trying to shift the blame from themselves to the FBI and these other federal agencies. Well, they're part of you run them too. So I mean, what are you trying to? So now every time the State Department fucks up, then Donald Trump can blame the State Department, because the State Department is mostly staffed by Democrats. Okay, they're staffed by these globalist assholes. So anyway, what are we gathering from here now? Let's cap the story. Hubble was later convicted, and he talks about it, and he admits to the crime that he stole money in order to pay for his bills and his debts from the Rose Law Firm, okay? That was the only thing that he was convicted of. However, there is still the mystery, and Barbara Olson talks about it, of the fact that he and Hillary Clinton were double billing the what's it called, the Madison Guarantee Savings and Loan, and there's other issues with Webb Hubbell. First of all, he went to prison for federal prison for his crime. He was a lobbyist after he resigned from the Justice Department. Why did he resign from the Justice Department? Because there were so many questions concerning his conduct with the Rose Law Firm that it would eventually have been another scandal of the Clinton administration. Now, granted, the press did a great job, with all this. It was basically like a mushroom farm of scandals. They ignored as many as they could, but when your entire council office is falling apart, you have a guy dead. You have a guy that Bill Kennedy eventually had to resign because he helped smear the careers of travel office appointees. You had Bernard Nussbaum. We'll get to it later. He had to resign because of his tampering in the Vince Foster investigation and in Whitewater, and his general, lack of, he went into his office, just like I was talking about earlier, and removed files and whatever. In that forest of fuckery, I think Webb Hubbell could have conceivably gotten away with something, but maybe he just didn't want the heat and he resigned. Okay, now let's remember, this person is so close to the Clintons. First of all, he was appointed by Bill Clinton as Chief Justice of the Arkansas Supreme Court. So let's dispense with any notion that this is like a guy who's not even connected. He was close to him. He talks all the time here about how he was golfing with him and going with him Christmas shopping and whatever. Maybe he wasn't his best friend, but he was a friend of Bill Clinton's. Okay, that's how he got into his position to begin with. Okay, let's not kid ourselves. Okay, the whole notion that Hillary Clinton's main partner at the Rose Law Firm did not, in some way. First of all, this is another person in the Clinton inner circle that went to prison. Okay. Now, let's talk about the other juicy stuff. It's been rumored by, a number of people that Webb Hubbell and Vince Foster had affairs with Hillary Clinton. Okay. Gary Aldrich, the FBI liaison in the White House, claimed that Craig Livingston, the White House head of security, actually said that it's true. Okay, so that's with Vince Foster. He claimed that Vince Foster did have an affair with Hillary Clinton and that it was admitted by their head of security. Now, okay, you might say there's no proof. Well, the guy fucking killed himself. Okay, so how do we know that wasn't a reason? That he was tired of, maybe he was breaking up with Hillary Clinton or whatever, or was causing strain in his marriage, or if the Clintons will never, they all want us to believe that Vince Foster was mysteriously depressed or whatever. In this book, Webb Hubbell admits that the three of them, Foster, Hillary Clinton, and Webb Hubbell, would go arm in arm and eat Italian food together. They'd eat lunch every day together. The three were as thick as thieves for a decade at Rose Law Firm. Now, okay, so you're saying that with Vince Foster, the guy who supposedly killed himself was Hillary Clinton's, sugar daddy or whatever you call it. That she was having an affair with him. Webb Hubbell has also been accused of that. Now, with Webb Hubbell, I think the link is a little harder to prove. There's all these really funny memes and comparisons between his face and Chelsea Clinton's face. And I have to admit, and I'm not claiming here that there's any proof of it, and you don't sue me, but it's a lot easier to see the resemblance between Webb Hubbell and Chelsea Clinton than it is between Bill Clinton and Chelsea Clinton. So I'm going to claim, I'm agnostic on this point, but, you look up on the web, Webb Hubbell and Chelsea Clinton, and you decide for yourself, is she his daughter or is she Bill Clinton's daughter? Now, it would, like, what do you want? I mean, it's very possible that Bill Clinton has dozens of other kids in Arkansas that we don't know about. So what do you care? Okay, so this one won't be his. He might have a bunch of other ones. So what does it matter that one of them is actually Webb Hubbell's kid? Because Webb Hubbell has other kids. Now, that's kind of just a funny sidebar to this conversation. Overall, I give this book 3 slick willies. It's not an amazing book. You kind of get a little of the perspective on the Clintons and on Arkansas, but he's more of a privileged part of Arkansas. It's not even, if you read Arkansas Mischief by Jim McDougall, you get a little more of the flavor, you get a little more of the idea of why, Bill Clinton became the person he is from the state he is from. This is a little more of just, reading into their inner circle and whatever. And he kind of tries to brush off the fact that he was ever associated with, Jim McDougall, because he has this abiding contempt for his own father-in-law, Seth Ward. But at the end of the day, they're peas of the same pod. Jim McDougall went to federal prison. Webb Hubbell went to federal prison. So anyway, 3 slick willies for friends in high places. There's going to be another video, hopefully coming out tomorrow, of a different book. And this is Ramon, Bold Like a Leopard, the Bill and Hillary Clinton Presidential Penitentiary Library. And we'll talk to you later. Have a great Wednesday.